All right, what's going on, my digital duelists? Welcome to the deck profile that I mentioned in the short, if you guys check that out. If not, check it out. For the Imperialdramon deck profile, I'm going to dive a bit more into my reasoning behind the things that I chose, why I did it, and honestly, I definitely am open to constructive criticism or even negative criticism. I don't really care, just as long as you guys engage with the video in some way, shape, or form, I'd appreciate that. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's just get into it. For eggs, right? I'm just playing this basic sort of a package, right? The BT12 Demi Vmon and the BT3 one. I do want to change all of this. This is probably going to be like a Wanyamon, put a Bokumon as well, because why not? And then kind of keep these here, just because the jamming does actually... At first, I thought it was terrible, right? Because you already have jamming just built into the deck, but it really does help you get some super early aggression, right? If you're going first and you do manage to hit it. The only reason I'm going to play one of it is because, well, it's going to get hit later in the future. This video is being filmed in like 2023 now, I think. I think we're in 2023? No, I think we're 2024. I don't believe in time, but that has nothing to do with this. The Wanyamon, with the amount of Tamers we're playing, being able to draw off that is nice, because sometimes you just don't have a green out and you can't get the draw. And this deck needs the draw. It needs the search. But that's the eggs. I play 5. Nobody even wants to cut them, so like, what's the point? Right, now, let's get into the meat and potatoes, huh? So starting off, it should be relatively obvious, but you play this at 4. This is mandatory to be played at 4, right? This is the best searcher you have. Technically, I guess you could say these guys could also be the best search you have if you end up playing more Kens. I don't play Kens because the promo Kens, I just didn't get my hand on them. And on top of that, like, I don't know. Blue is nicer than green, you know what I mean? Actually, but I am obsessed about my green. That has nothing to do with this, right? Secure the bag alert. Shout out DJ Khaled. I wonder how he's doing. I haven't seen him show up on my feed recently. In fact, you know, I haven't even been on Instagram a lot recently. Thank goodness for that. But that's a whole different story time. Anyway, these guys basically do the same thing, right? They let you dig through the top 3, and then you can add something with free and then the respective tamers, so Davis and Ken. The important thing is also their inheritables, which lets you DNA at end of turn. So if you're like, oh, let me go over to get my Digimon out, right? You like go to 1 and then you're like, oh wait, I'm not done here because I'm still DNAing. And it actually really comes in clutch. I have lost games because I keep thinking that I have the end phase DNA effect and I don't, and because it doesn't let me rip like that. So you definitely play these at 4. This is, don't debate it, don't at me, get out of my house. Like, these are played at 4. Here's where it gets a little different. It's a bit more personal preference based. I play these boys at 3 just because I desperately need to search in this deck, right? We're not at BT16 yet. As I said, we're filming this video like in 2024. Don't quote me on that. And you desperately need to be searching. Now, with that being said, I also play this one Wormmon literally just for the inheritable, right? I just put something in raising, I go, I get a draw, and I know I have the inheritable, so it's kind of safer. I would consider boosting this up to 2 and like cutting one of these down if I was feeling luckier, I guess. But honestly, it's half decent. It works. And I only play one of the new promo Vmon. This actually is pretty nice, but there have been times when I just don't see Tamers, and it's painful, but it's nice. I could see you playing this at like, you know, 2, maybe even 3 if you're feeling ballsy. Because honestly, the ability to draw when you have 2 more colors, right? You swing, restand, swing again, and you're drawing, you're just plussing like crazy. But it does require a lot of setup, and that's why you need everything else. You need the setup. Like, this deck is so setup heavy, it's a little sad. But when the new support comes in, then, you know, we can be laughing. Hopefully. Hopefully. Now, with that being said, I play this at 4. And this boy at 4. Now, this is what I mentioned when I say, like, we have jamming built into the deck, so it's not so bad, right? Problem is, this is a level 4, right? It's your champion. When you get into the champion, you're already kind of a little behind sometimes, unless you manage to just, like, rip it, you know? But it is nice. If you could have, like, jamming built in through the egg, right? Like with Boku, or I did pull that Vmon from a pack. You can check out the short. It's going to be somewhere. I'll probably link it somewhere. Probably not. Who knows? I don't know. But what does anybody really know? Jamming is in this Digimon. And if you get it off the egg or off another Vmon or something, it lets you really ramp up the aggression, right? Getting an early 1 or 2 security checks really makes all the difference. At first, I thought, Boku was bad. There's no point in playing it. You already have jamming, but like it makes such a big difference. But yeah, these guys, I play them at 4 just because I really like them. The ability to reduce the play cost by 1 comes in clutch like crazy. The fact that, this is just jamming inherit, it's like it's just good, right? It lets you get in there, get a check, play out the Stingmon, DNA, and kind of get a bit more, right? So in theory and in practice, actually, it's nice. If you really wanted, you can cut them down to 3-3 to make room for some of the other ones. Now this little bit will change depending on what your top end is. I play 2 of the memory Stingmon and 2 of the memory Vmon. These are nice, right? When you DNA, you get a little memory back. So sometimes you're actually like not even DNAing for free, but like you're DNAing for advantage. Now I play these at 2 because you'll see it in my top end later. I don't really have a focus on maximizing these guys. But if you tweak the deck to make it a bit more like, oh, I'm going to play more dragon modes so that I can just keep like looping these guys, totally go for it. It actually makes a lot of sense. And I strongly do recommend you do something like that if that's your playstyle. Then we move on. We're getting to our level 5s, to our ultimates. Now here, once again, like anything in life, it's personal preference, baby. I play 3 of these guys and 2 of these boys. Now, when I was building, my thought process was like, I want it to be whippy, right? I wanted to be able to flex between both because stripping sources is very important sometimes because these guys just have like a crazy amount of protection. And on top of that, the ability to just punch multiple times is very nice as well. Now, I know a lot of people are playing like 4 of this and 4 of the Dino B just because you get to clear boards and things like that. I'm not doing that just because I really enjoy the ability to like strip sources. It makes me feel like they did all that work to build their Digimon. Like, oh yeah, look, I have 6 different protections and blah, blah, but I'm like, yeah, cool, DNA, I'm going to strip 3, I'm going to do something, strip another 3. Oh, you have no sources now. Now I'm just going to get rid of your stuff. If you've seen some of my other games, which I've posted, like, it really works because you strip no sources, you strip them down to no sources, and then you go fight them and it's like, yeah, cool, I just wiped your entire board. Like, you've got nothing to deal with. However, is it super consistent? No. But this is a card game. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is a card game for children. So we're out here thinking, oh man, what's consistent? What's gonna let me do this? It's like, bro, like they look nice. Like, look, it's shiny cardboard and the art looks nice. Like, I just play it because it's fun, all right? And yeah, sometimes I win. I win a couple games with it, and it's good. But yeah, the inheritable on this one is also very nice. The gain 1 memory, because you go stack this, you swing, get a check. You go dragon mode, restand, swing. Now you gain a memory. Go into fighter mode. You can potentially restand again, swing again. You're gaining 3 memory for attacking, right? It's kind of ridiculous. And obviously I gave you all a little teaser, but I do play 1 of each of the Dino B. I will probably just drop this, right? I just like it there because honestly, the art looks so fire. Like look at that forearm. Are you guys seeing this? Right? Do you see look at the forearm? Look at that. Do you see how vascular that is? Let's ignore this ugly looking bicep part. But like, look at that. You know what I mean? Like, bro, that would be pretty lit, I think. Anyway, now with that all being said, right? That's just my level 5 line. My 6s, this line definitely needs a lot of tweaking. Okay, I'm gonna explain why. So now let's talk about the level 6s. I play 1 BT12, 1 ST9, and 1 of the promo Ace. This one I want to boost up to 2. I used to play it at 3, and then I would see it in every hand, and it's kind of traumatizing, I guess. These guys, this one is nice, right? As I mentioned. If you play this maybe at 2, you're going to want to increase this count just because it synergizes so well. I personally don't really find that to be super reliable. So I'm not doing that myself, but it's fun and I can see why you do it. This is my favorite dragon mode, right? You digivolve, you can restand, you swing at the end of attack, you warp into an Imperial. It's nice. Get stuff done, right? Plus it taps one of your opponent's Digimon, so if you want to swing into them, it works. I'm playing them at 1 each just because I couldn't really figure out which way I wanted to go, right? This one will get boosted to 2. But between these two, I couldn't really figure out which way I wanted to go. I liked having the versatility, having the options, being able to kind of just not lock myself into any one kind of line. But because of that thinking, sometimes it's really annoying because these two boys will get stuck in your security. And obviously you have no way of knowing until your opponent checks your security. So you're drawing, you're like, when am I getting my dragon mode? When am I getting my dragon mode? And you just don't see a dragon mode because it's in security. And that's kind of the problem when you play it at 1. But the thing is, when you play it at more than 1, then it just feels a bit too cloggy. You know, it's a little bricky, kind of. But at that point, shit, if you're going to lose, you're going to lose anyway. So you might as well play it smarter. And I will probably put this to 2 somehow. Obviously, after dragon mode, who's left? Fighter mode, baby. BT8 fighter mode. I play 1 of this because honestly, it's like, it's whatever. It's literally whatever to me. Sometimes it's nice, right? I get the when digivolving, you know, you get to bounce a thing. But for the most part, when I do go into fighter mode, I go into fighter mode off of the dragon mode end of attack, right? Because you warp into fighter mode for free. Which means this whole when attacking thing, which lets you restand and do that, doesn't really come up. But sometimes it does, but it's very rare. But yes. So I only play this at 1. I might just cut this out. Okay, like, just get rid of it to make room for some other stuff. Which brings me then to my favorite fighter mode. This bad boy. BT12 fighter mode. This guy is so clutch. Like, if you saw the most recent game, the one against the Suga player, this card won me the game. And not because it bounced anything to hand, but because it suspends Digimon with no Digivolution sources. My opponent has 3 blockers. You know, just watch the game. Honestly, it's kind of funny. I would have lost the game, however, if my opponent didn't, you know, read my own card and do the effect for me. But he did that, so thank you for that, bud. This fighter mode is so fire, okay? Digivolve. Suspend everything with no sources, which brings us back to why we're playing the Imperialdramons and stuff. And you'll see with some of my options, right? You're going to be stripping sources. Their Digimon should have no sources. You strip it. Everything gets suspended. And then, if you return the dragon mode that you just warped over back to hand, you bot deck everything. This clears boards for you. Provided that, like I said, you set it up right. It will clear boards for you. And then you swing, and you get 2 checks at 15 with jamming. And you're drawing Lord knows how many. And if you want to play it safe, you don't even have to swing. It's a blocker. You just sit on this for a little bit like, yeah, you know, you have no Digimon, what are you going to do? Or if they do have a Digimon, getting over 15k beat stick is kind of tough. But yes, I love this fight. That's why I played at 2, obviously. However, if I wanted to be really ballsy, I guess I could cut it down to 1 just to make room for other stuff. But I strongly recommend playing it at 2. And then for the final Digimon, obviously, we play Blitz Omni. It does come up. I might just cut this, to be honest. It does come up, but sometimes you see it in your hand and you're like, I wish it was literally almost anything else. Has it won me games? Yes. But would my consistency go up if I cut it? Probably. I think I will actually put maybe like screenshots of how I've performed with this deck, because I've kept this deck consistent at the tournaments and stuff that I've taken it to for like the past month. Now, Digimon out of the way. What's next? Tamers or options? Which one do you think I'm going to mention first, huh? Tamers or options? Take a guess. Pause this video right now and see if you get. No, we're going into Tamers. I played 2 of the memory setting Davis, the BT3 one. This card is very good. Not just because it's a memory setter, but because it lets you search and add 2 Digimon to hand, basically, right? 1 green, 1 blue. That is so important. You see the amount of searchers that I'm running in the deck. This deck needs to search constantly. Davis helps so much. It's phenomenal. Plus the memory setting is nice. Now, we also play 2 of the promo Davis. You're not going to want to play your Vmon out. You're going to want to, right, Digivolve into the back to keep it safe. But, right, like after you promote it and then you're like, oh, I have an X Vmon. Sure, you pay 1 extra memory for the Digivolve, but then in theory, right, that just pays itself off in 2 turns. You have something with free on board, boom, you get a little boost. So yes, I do enjoy this Davis. I was playing him at 3 once. 3 is too much. 1 just isn't enough, so I compromise and I go 2, you know, split the difference. I also play this Davis. I play him at 1 just because sometimes it's very nice when you swing and you're like, okay, I kind of just really need to up the aggression, right? You swing with your Payil, tap the Davis, go into the fighter mode, get 2 checks. It's phenomenal. But it only works when it works, right? And I'm already kind of iffy on the amount of Tamers that I'm playing, because sometimes I'll see a hand just filled with Tamers. I don't even understand why it works out this way, but it happens. At one point, I was playing this at 2, and I was also playing the BT8 Davis and Ken at 2 as well. Playing them at 2 is just too much. 6 Tamers is good. Is it great? No, not really, but sometimes you gotta take what you get. And this one is really nice. Honestly, I don't really know what else to say, man. It's good. It gives you memory. You know, when you digivolve to something with 2 or more colors, you tap this, it unsuspends. It lets you really close out games, right? Because if you do have enough memory, in theory, because you can warp into the fighter mode, you don't really need to go off of this Davis, right? If the dragon mode does get the warp, goes in, and then you tap this and you restand, you just did 2 checks, potentially cleared their entire board. And now you can either go for game or wipe their security to nothing. And you go Blitz Omni for game. It works out sometimes like that. Other times it doesn't, but bro, that's the game. Gotta roll the dice, baby. To start with, obviously, you play HPD. You have to play this. My problem is, that's what everyone tells me. I don't have any idea how to actually use this card well. There have been times when, yeah, I've kind of comboed a little, but it's like, I don't know, people on the internet, people that I talk to in person, everyone's like, man, ban HPD, ban HPD. And I'm like, bro, it's good, but it's not that good. But then I thought about it for a second. I'm like, wait, this isn't the only green deck that exists. I've seen some Bloomlord shenanigans with HPD, and maybe I can understand where they're coming from, but honestly, it being at 1 is fine. Okay, it's fine. Y'all need to stop being haters. I play 1 Hammerspark. I would play 2, but I don't know if I have a second copy, so there's that. But yeah, like Hammerspark is a good card. I also play 2 Megadeth. I should be playing 3, but instead of playing the 3rd Megadeth, I play V-Laser. That source stripping, very nice. Also lets you play out a Digimon if you meet like conditions, right? If you have a green, you play out a blue. So it's like for 3 cost, you could, in theory, play out like your jamming Vmon or your memory X Vmon, I should say, right? For 3, and then you DNA and you can kind of go off. However, Megadeth being at 3 is probably like a smart idea, just because sometimes you see it in security and it just really helps you out. But you have to at least play that 2. If you're not playing Megadeth, you're insane. That's what I think. But you gotta play at least 1. 3 is probably ideal. I'm just cutting it down to 2 just to make things work. I may just end up cutting out the Hammerspark because it does come up and it is very important and it's a great card. But I like the idea of actually doing something more aggressive versus doing something like a bit more setup-y. Do you know what I mean? Like, I prefer the idea of punching versus to the idea of getting ready to punch next turn, if that makes sense. I don't really think it does. But anyway, that's basically, right, the deck profile. Like, my theory behind it was all, you know, I want flexibility, right? I don't want to be locked down into only being able to punch or only being able to strip sources or things like that. I figured this was kind of a really balanced way to build it, which honestly, when I really think about it, I don't like that as a concept. Like, who wants to, like, do you really want to be a balanced person, or do you want to be unbalanced but really good at what you do? Mindset shift that I've been kind of, I guess you could say, working on or workshopping. For the most part, this has performed, right? I'm not going to say like, oh, this is the best thing in the world. It's like, it works, right? It gets stuff done. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll, if you guys don't want to watch the video, I'll probably put this as the thumbnail and you can just like screenshot it, zoom in, and then figure out whatever it is you're looking at. But yeah, so the whole thing is, it's just meant to be balanced. Now, to reiterate what I was talking about, I may cut this out, and potentially this. By removing these, I can increase the ace count, maybe even cut this guy out. This will give me another Megadeth, something like that. Maybe even play some more of those Vmons. And obviously with, you know, BT14 showing up and getting a whole bunch of new support for this apparently, everything that I just theorized now is probably going to go out the window and it's not going to matter. And that's okay. Because life is chaotic. And it's all about how we adapt to the chaos. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that little nugget of wisdom. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have any ideas for improvement, let me know. This isn't even come close to like my Mirage Galgamon deck, which was a gift from my friend Dave. By the way, thank you, Dave. I love you very much. Appreciate you, bro. It doesn't come close to that in terms of like consistency or reliability, but this is a fun deck. It just doesn't win that often. It requires a lot of setup. Sometimes, you know, you get stopped once and you're finished. But all that should change with the future. We're getting new support, so it should be able to ramp like power scale like crazy. And when that happens, I will let you guys know how that goes. So anyway, in the meantime, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope y'all learned something maybe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.